Hey gang, I wanted to introduce a new house to you today, one of my house overview videos of a brand that I discovered recently. I discovered it late last year, but I actually kind of circled back to it early this year, and now I'm going to do a video. I'm doing a video for you guys to find out about ANDREEA RADA. So they're fragrances, 5 of them in perfume extract concentration, and they come in 65 ml bottles for $115. Really nicely priced, super potent fragrances. And they are sold here in the States at ScentSplit. I have them linked in the info box. And there's a few that I really, really love. And I'm doing this video in alphabetical order. So 2 fragrances at first. The first 2 fragrances I'm going to talk to you about are 2 of my favorites. And then I'll explain to you all the details of each of the fragrances. But we've got Garnet Power. We have Infinite Love. We have Oud Moon Vibe. We also have Sapphire Serenity. And then we've got Velvety Touch. Let me know if you've discovered this house. What are your thoughts if you have? And also, while you're watching, let me know which one sounds the best to you. So we are starting off with Garnet Power, or Garnet Power. This is created by a perfumer by the name of Belen Garcia, who I'm completely unfamiliar with. And as I said, these are Extrait Perfumes, perfume extrait concentration, 65 ml for $115. So really nicely priced. And the fragrances are quite beefy, really super potent and intense. So this fragrance, Garnet Power, definitely one of my favorites. It's cashmere wood, orris, pink pepper, cedarwood, patchouli, bergamot, vanilla, benzoin, oakmoss, musk, lily of the valley, jasmine, oranges, and lemons. So this actually does remind me of a fragrance that I do not find in the market anymore. It's from the house of Bottega Veneta. It was kind of a leathery, patchouli-focused fragrance. And I said the magic word, patchouli. So this does give me patchouli vibes. So it's got that super sexiness going for it. But when I think about the other fragrance from Bottega Veneta and this, the patchouli is a little different. For me, the patchouli in this fragrance, Garnet Power, is greener. But once you get past that greenness, because the other patchouli was a bit more earthier, not as green as this one, the fragrances do seem similar. Sadly, the other one is discontinued, so we have it here. But also, when I was testing this one out, I experienced this fragrance so beefy and big. I never experienced the other fragrance this way. But super full of patchouli, but also a lot of musky, powdery notes. It's very, very woody, and it's quite earthy as well. There's some light sweetness under there. It does become a bit ambery when it's drying down, but a really, really sexy fragrance, I think. If you like fragrances that are powdery, woody, musky, and also earthy patchouli, I think you're going to really like this one. I'm drawing a blank with the name of the Bottega Veneta fragrance. I'll flash a photo, but I was always saddened that that fragrance got discontinued, but I'm happy I can get it here with Garnet Power. What I like about the first 2 fragrances that I'm going to talk to you about, they have such great lingering power, so super potent, so intense, and really beefy experiences, not wimpy experiences, which is what I like. But I think whoever Belen Garcia is did such a great job here. The other thing I want to say, the patchouli in Garnet Power does remind me a little bit of the patchouli in something like Montal's Vetiver Patchouli, maybe Orage by Louis Vuitton. They have patchouli in there as well. Tempo, Diptyque's Tempo. Patchouli reminds me of those patchoulis in those 3 fragrances. But this fragrance reminds me of the Bottega Veneta, which again, as I said, I'm drawing a blank. But really always loved that fragrance, and it's awesome here with this fragrance. Really wonderful to wear. Really loud, intense, and definitely worth getting your nose on. If you like powdery, musky fragrances with earthy notes, spicy notes, and of course kind of warm ambery when it's drying down. I guess I should say it does go a little green because the patchouli in this does give me a bit of a green vibe. It also has Lily of the Valley, but it's not so noticeable, the Lily of the Valley. It's just, I think it's giving a little light floral touch there. But let me know if you've discovered Garnet Power. Add a comment below. So awesome, that one. I really, really love the way that smells. But my number 1 favorite fragrance from the house happens to be this one. It's called Infinite Love. Infinite Love is created by Olivier Cresp, and it features the notes of caramel, orange, cardamom, rum, cedarwood, vanilla, musk. So once again, super beefy, super potent fragrance. It's so intense. It totally feels, like fills you, takes you over with the smell. And I like the combination of the vanilla and the caramel. It's sweet, but also super spicy, super musky as well. And the combination is so awesome and so delicious. Slightly boozy. I feel like also when I wear this fragrance, there's a bit of a tobacco-ish touch. So it gives me a little kind of like, I guess, tobacco vanille vibe. But I'm not saying these smell identical. This smells identical to tobacco vanille. But it's just the way it smells is super awesome. And again, really super long lasting, super intense. And definitely if you're a fan of spicy, I guess smoky. I'm even though there's no mention of tobacco or anything like that, maybe the cedarwood they're using in this is the kind of smoky kind. There's definitely something smoky and spicy tobacco-ish in here, which is always a nice contrast with something that's vanillic and caramelly. I should say this kind of reminds me a little bit of Blender Graffy's Vanilla Mudslide, but Vanilla Mudslide also is not featuring tobacco, but it gives me tobacco-ish vibes. I should also say it reminds me a little bit of Lune Feline as well from the house of Atelier d'Azur. So it gives me these kind of vibes, but I like its potency. It's super, super intense. And honestly, the sprayers of these fragrances are also really great, because some fragrances don't spray as great. And I think the reason these fragrances spray great is also why we're experiencing such potent and beefy fragrances. But not only because of that, these are Extrait Perfumes, so super long and concentrated, super long lasting and concentrated fragrances. So Infinite Love, definitely one of my favorites. In fact, it's my favorite of the line. It's a given, it's vanilla. And the fact that I get kind of a tobacco-ish vibe, it's even better for me. All right, so now that we've gotten to my two favorite fragrances out of the way, I'm not as excited about the next two fragrances. I'm not saying they're bad fragrances, they're just not clicking with me as much. The first fragrance I'm going to talk about is Oud Moon Vibe, created by Olaf Larsen. I'm familiar with the perfumer, but I'm not very familiar with their work. And again, the first two, I didn't know Belen Garcia, but she did such a great job with Garnet Power. And of course, I know who Olivier Cresp is, so I know his fragrances. Did a great job on that one. This Oud Moon Vibe, I mean, it's not a bad fragrance, as I said, but it wasn't really my favorite of the bunch. But it features notes of musk, oud, orris, black pepper, lily of the valley, jasmine, patchouli, ambergris, cedarwood, oakmoss, vanilla, cardamom, nutmeg, bergamot, raspberry, and vetiver. There's a lot going on here. It's once again, it's oud. And even though I've been mentioning recently that I'm kind of slowly getting back on track with oud and enjoying some, and again, this is not a bad fragrance. It's not a very exciting fragrance. To me, it's got a lot of spice and there's a lot going on with it, but I kind of wanted something to contrast through it. I feel like it's blended really perfectly together and everything kind of fits, but nothing kind of stands out. So all I get is a spicy, woody kind of earthiness, which I kind of wanted something uber fruity in there to contrast through it. Maybe the rose, like usually there's a lot of rose and oud together. And even though they mentioned the raspberry here, it just didn't stand out as much. And I kind of wanted that to contrast through the oud. But I would say this is something more along the line of something like Oud Wood from Tom Ford. If you like that kind of dry, woody oudiness with spices and, slight ambery touches when it's drying down, I think you should definitely try this one. I think it wasn't as exciting, and Oud Wood, I consider it definitely one of the best oud fragrances, like the westernized oud and oud accord. It's not one of the fragrances that I, gravitate towards to wear over and over again, So this one is a bit underwhelming for me, but you might like it. Oud Moon Vibe. Let me know if you're familiar with it. Again, the first two fragrances, really enjoyed wearing them. They smell great on me too, and they also really project nicely. So I really enjoyed those two. The next fragrance is called Sapphire Serenity. So this is created by Hamid Merati-Kashani, and he's also a Firmenich perfumer, just like the perfumer for Infinite Love, which is Olivier Cresp. I have to say this one, Sapphire Serenity and Velvety Touch, are both created by Hamid Merati-Kashani, but I prefer Sapphire Serenity over Velvety Touch. Velvety Touch, unfortunately, is my least favorite of the collection. it just wasn't doing it for me. But this one actually has a lot of patchouli. There's rose, saffron, violet, and bergamot in the notes breakdown. And I enjoyed it. Still enjoy the first two fragrances the most. But this would be the third favorite of the line, just because it also has a lot of patchouli. I was kind of expecting a little bit of an oudiness in this one. I guess I get a little bit of a touch, but it's not oody. And I think the saffron mixed in with the other notes gives me a little bit of that Middle Eastern vibe. And of course, there's rose in here as well. And the woods that are in here, it's acting a little bit oody, but again, not your animalic kind of oud, more of a westernized kind of oud. But to me, it's about the patchouli and the rose. The patchouli is definitely more on the greener side, not your kind of chocolatey, ambery kind of patchouli. And then the rose cuts through. I guess also I would say this is acting a bit more like a Chypre style, but less and less. To me, the fact that they've added saffron in here goes into the Middle Eastern direction, and the way the fragrance is blended, it tricks my nose to thinking there's a little bit of a oud in here. But in the end, it's a really potent fragrance once again, with the idea of patchouli, rose, and saffron. Those three notes really stand out. And again, if you're looking for fragrances that are beast mode, I would call these on the beast mode side. They're really, really potent and beefy wares. I think you should definitely check out the line, especially, as I said, these are 65 ml, 115, and they are Extrait Perfumes, so really long lasting. But again, Sapphire Serenity is my third favorite. Oud Moon Vibes is my fourth favorite. Infinite Love is my most favorite. And Garnet Power is my second favorite. And last but not least, my number five favorite, I should say, or the fifth favorite in the list is Velvety Touch by ANDREEA RADA. Let me know if you're familiar with this one. Once again, it's $115 for a 65 ml. It's an Extrait Perfume concentration. And this fragrance is also created by Hamid Merati-Kashani. He's a very well-known perfumer. Do you guys like this perfumer? He's done a lot of Parfums de Marly. He has a line that he's created with his own wife, and he does so many different fragrances. And he's definitely one of the perfumers, like the biggest perfumers at DSM Firmenich. But unfortunately, Velvety Touch didn't work for me. It's once again patchouli, cedarwood, vanilla, tuberose, jasmine. I think it's the white flower idea that is just not working for me. I like it. It's not a love, I don't like crave it. I just think the potency of the fragrances are really, really awesome. But this one, unfortunately, just didn't do it for me. I think the white flowers is just kind of contrasting with the idea of the patchouli and the cedarwood. And so in the end, you have this kind of earthy woodiness with this contrast of more fresh white floral. And then it also has a bit of that creaminess that tuberose provides. And once again, it's the tuberose. I think tuberose is definitely not one of my all-time favorite notes. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this note. I'm liking it a bit more modern, and this is definitely more modern. It's like a more modern tuberose fragrance offering. But for some reason, this one didn't click with me. I think also the fragrance has a bit of a Middle Eastern vibe once again. I think the last three fragrances I spoke about are the ones that have the most Middle Eastern vibe. The first two, to me, I wouldn't say they're Middle Eastern, but I wouldn't say they're not Middle Eastern, but they smelled really, really awesome. But for some strange reason, Oud Moon, for sure, it's an oud-focused fragrance, giving me that Middle Eastern vibe. The Sapphire Serenity with its saffron touches. And then this one, for some reason, it acts a bit like Middle Eastern as well. But again, you might like this one over me. It just wasn't one of my all-time favorite fragrances, but that is Velvety Touch from ANDREEA RADA. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances after I spoken to you about all five of the fragrances. Which one sounds the best to you? Add a comment below so I can find out. And if you can get your nose on these, please do. Definitely try Infinite Love as a great vanilla fragrance. Very spicy, a bit tobacco-ish. And then also Garnet Power. Very powdery, musky, and patchouli. Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, guys, please list below. Let me know your thoughts on these fragrances. If you want to take advantage of the discount code also available, there's a discount code listed in the info box. But please like this video, please share it. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, and also click the subscribe button, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.